Okay, I'm done ranting. I apologize. I'm out of control. I'll hit news in the final segment, but let's talk to George in Connecticut. George, you're on the air. Welcome.
Thanks a lot for Alex. I mean, it's nice to hear a little bit of rationality from the Israeli point of view. I just wanted to quickly make a suggestion for that JFK thing because you brought it up. Doug Horn was on Unknown Country with Whitney Strieber. He's absolutely fantastic. You have to get him on as a speaker at some point. He basically was part of some sort of investigative group that was with the military that definitively went through all the details to show that they were all either fabricated or manipulated or whatever the evidence.
Well, Los Alamos Laboratories 3 years ago tested a lone bullet and found it wasn't the same bullet as the fragments, and there were no fragments from the lone bullet. It's all fake.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what he was getting into, but he goes into meticulous detail, excruciating detail, is what I'm saying, and you can't shoot his stuff down easily. So Doug Horn is somebody you should get. Maybe you know Whitley, or how to contact him through with.
Yeah, well, somebody give me a pen. Somebody bring me a pen in there. I had like 5 of them, and I guess I walked out of the room with them. Doug Horn. Okay, well, I mean, was he involved in because that was even in like the Dallas Morning News 3 years ago about the Los Alamos National Laboratories, right, that the Army did the test.
Yeah, he was a part of the last investigative thing to go over all the material, and even with the brain stuff, he seemed to search that down. He came up with new details, but he has like a $70 5-volume thing on each piece of detail, so that he's probably done more definitive investigation than anybody on the. If you call,
I'll have to get Jesse Ventura to talk to him then, because I'm consulting on. Ventura is supposed to come to Austin the next 2 weeks, interview some locals with what they're doing with the threat fusion centers and with my breaking of the Mayak report. That's one of the episodes, but I'll have to give him that Doug Horn thing on the JFK thing. I appreciate your call. Anything else, George?
One other thing on the Bilderbergers, why can't we do something like the South Koreans did a number of, what was it, about a year ago or something like that? They used something like Twitter, where they basically were just fed up with their government, bailing out one of their big companies. They had a couple of thousand people, and before you know it, they kept twittering all over the place until there were millions of people on the floor. Maybe something like that should be suggested, or so how they did it, because whenever one of these characters, whether it's a politician or Bilderbergers, if we could use what the Koreans did, instead of just a couple of hundred people showing up, there'd be tens of thousands showing up, and each day growing. Maybe they'd get the idea to shut this thing down before it gets out of hand.
Well, that's a good point. I appreciate your call. I mean, it's up to you, the individuals, to make things like that happen. I know for several years they've had Twitter systems and others where the paparazzi use it to harass movie stars and TV personalities, because everybody's on the Twitter in L.A. going, I've got, Charlie Sheen, get him, he's over here eating. And that's kind of mean, because Charlie doesn't deserve that. But for the politicians and the globalists, it certainly is an effective tool to expose them and let them know we're not happy with their criminal activity. To at least come over to have 100 people show up at a restaurant when they're eating and say, we don't like your New World Order. We're not your slaves. Just to let them know, hey, we know who you are. But as Brzezinski said, the people are now aware of the fact that we have a world government. And that's a big part of it. Sam in California, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, how you doing? I know I don't got much time, so I'm just going to quickly start off by saying you're a true patriot. And on top of that, you are a humanitarian, because information is everything, and we need to educate everybody we can. I just recently was fortunate enough to get a link from a friend to your Facebook page, and ever since then, I've been listening to you every single day, and I've been trying to call, and I just finally got through today. I wanted to start
Well, that's a beautiful story. I mean, that's how we're reaching more and more people. I think of unlocking a mind or giving somebody, a great source of a multi-spectrum information, because my listeners are activists and are reaching out to people. That's why we're having an effect. And it's not just this show. It's a paradigm shift across the board if the people realize that personal contact or internet contact from person to person with the truth is unstoppable if people realize the power they have. But go ahead.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I just wanted to quickly touch up on Israel and a few other things, because I myself am a Persian American, I'm Muslim American, and I don't want people lashing out at Jewish people, because that's not right and that's not Islam at all. The thing is, you need to distinguish the difference between Judaism and Zionism. the Zionists are the ones that control the major state of Israel. And there's actually a group that I just recently found online called Jews United Against Zionism. And these are Jewish rabbis, Orthodox Jews that do not believe in the state of Israel.
It's Nutricardi, yeah.
Absolutely. And this is just one thing that needs to be touched upon because people are really starting to move towards anti-Semitism, and that's not what is the solution.
Well, my issue is, though, is that, you know, the brand of Zionism with blockades of Gaza and doing all those horrible things is really bad, and I'm against it. But then I think it's terms. When people use a term like Zionist, well, I mean, there's so many, like, Christians who want the end of the world to happen in Israel. They call themselves Christian Zionists. So I think that's where these terms confuse people.
I agree. They do. And, you know, these are things that we need to distinguish the difference between, because the last thing we need is misinformed people starting, you know, controversy that we don't need. Because we have bigger problems like the Bilderberg Group and these elite who seek to control our world, our way of life, our way of thought. And that's the true terrorism. That's what we need to fight, is the fact that they go on the news and spread their propaganda to basically manifest fear in people. So when they come out with these outrageous plans to have carbon taxes and this and that, we can't stand for that. And you know what? Information is everything. You're doing the right thing, and I'm going to do my part. I'm going to take footage of chemtrails. I've been telling every person that I come in contact with about you and your show, and that's just what I'm trying to do. I'm 26 years old. I'm a different demographic, and me and my friends, we've been buying respiration gear and biochemical suits. We've been buying everything we could, gold, everything, because we actually do think these elite are going to try something absurd, like martial law. And, you know, I just can't see that happening. I really can't.
Well, I mean, it's an incremental martial law where they put you through naked body scanners and then admit they're recording your genitals and laughing at you. That's martial law. Or when the IRS takes your house, or when cities are taking houses for $360 water bills, that's martial law. When the government's saying that they may take your pension funds, that's martial law. When police are beating up people for videotaping them, that's martial law. And so incrementally, we are going into this. I'm going to hit a few news articles and a few more calls on the other side from Charlie, John, Sean, and others. Stay with us.